conflict over in Gaza has created a lot of problems for the geopolitical side. We're going to bring in Andrew Lipow. He's the president of Lipow Oil Associates. Thank you for coming on to the show. You know, when this first happened, I believe it was early Saturday morning, and a lot of us were trying to figure out, because the markets were closed, what the reaction was going to be. Is the reaction of oil prices going up and bond yields going down because of the safety play? Is that kind of what you expected?
Well, thanks very much for having me. As far as the oil market is concerned, what we saw was the knee-jerk reaction to a potential supply disruption. And I should point out that there has been no oil supply disruption as yet. But the oil market is always fearing that the hostilities in the Middle East will ultimately draw in Iran, and that could cause a supply disruption through the Strait of Hormuz, where nearly 20% of the world's oil supply transits. Over the last few days, the oil market has actually given up all those gains, as it has come to the conclusion that the probability that the Strait of Hormuz is shut is quite low. However, what we might see is the United States take a more rigorous approach to enforcing sanctions on Iranian crude oil exports.
Andrew, one of the concerns is that right now it's currently between essentially Hamas and Israel, but that could very easily expand to other regions and countries and other groups. And there's this fear on Wall Street and on Main Street that if that happens, I don't think there's any country that's going to be able to control the situation, because it could very easily spin out of control.
Well, I think that's right. I think that the situation could spin out of control, especially if there's a miscalculation on either the Israeli side or on the Hamas side or Iranian side. I mean, Hamas has already played their cards, but I think the fear is, well, what if Hezbollah should start attacking Israel from the north? Would that result in retaliatory action into Lebanon and Syria? And then, of course, as you can imagine, a wider conflict could emerge. However, I do not think that Iran nor Saudi Arabia is seeking a direct confrontation with Israel. And now we really have to look at what the other fallout is going to be, whether it's on the humanitarian side, with Israel creating a siege around Gaza and now looking for developing a safe corridor for those civilians stuck in Gaza to exit into Egypt, which of course will pressure the Egyptian economy.
Andrew, you know, this is still in its early days, and there's already some speculation that other countries possibly could have been assisting Hamas. If it's found out to be true that there are other countries involved in helping Hamas, explain to me why the timing of this, why now, and what might happen to these other countries if it's found that they did support Hamas in this attack?
Well, you know, there's a lot of speculation about why now, but one theory is that, you know, Hamas was concerned that Saudi Arabia and Israel are looking toward a peace accord, which essentially sidelines the Palestinian problem. And from Hamas's perspective, this would bring the Palestinian issues to the forefront and force Saudi Arabia to either delay or totally derail these peace talks.
What do you think happens in Gaza? It's, you know, there's 2 million people there. It's been well documented that Israel is going to, for lack of a better word, level that entire area, and there's going to be more loss of life. In the past, the international community has put pressure on Israel to not take such a tough stance, but this time around it feels different.
Well, we should be clear that Hamas is an authoritarian government in control of Gaza, and unfortunately it's the civilian population that is going to be paying the price for Hamas's invasion and killing and massacring of Israeli citizens, as well as citizens around the world, which includes, you know, Britons and Germans and citizens from South America as well as Mexico. So I think, you know, Israel is, on the one hand, trying to amass world support for the atrocities committed by Hamas, but not get caught up in, you know, having a humanitarian crisis that they could be blamed for in
Right.
Gaza. And clearly we're on that path when you cut out food, fuel, and electricity.